Before starting the story, I would like to say that 99% of you are not subscribers, while only 1% are. At 1,000 subscribers, I will post a series of special stories for you. Subscribe now.
The early morning mist still clung to the shadows of the towering skyscrapers as the first rays of sunlight began to dance upon the glass and steel of New York City. The city was a pulsating hub of activity, even in the early hours, with the denizens of Earth and visitors from the stars alike mingling in the streets. Amidst this bustling metropolis, Zarax, a young medical student from the planet Xylon, stepped off the interstellar shuttle at John F. Kennedy Spaceport with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. A new world. Zarax's species, the Xylonians, were humanoid, with luminescent skin that shifted colors subtly with their emotions. To humans, they appeared ethereal, almost angelic. But Zarax felt anything but celestial as he navigated through the customs and immigration process, his bright, curious eyes taking in every sight and sound. The International University of Galactic Medicine, IUGM, had arranged for his transfer from the spaceport. As he waited for his escort, Zarax's gaze fell upon the diverse crowd around him. Humans of all shapes and sizes hurried by, their faces showing a range of emotions and thoughts he could only guess at. He noted their physical diversity, a stark contrast to his own species' uniform appearance. First contact, Zarax of Xylon? A friendly voice cut through his observations. He turned to see a young woman, presumably in her mid-20s, extending a hand. "I'm Mia, your student liaison. Welcome to Earth." Mia's handshake was firm and warm, and her smile was welcoming. Zarax responded in kind, his skin flashing a soft blue, signaling his contentment, which Mia seemed to take in stride, her training on interstellar customs coming in handy. "Thank you, Mia. I am pleased to be here," Zarax replied, his accent thick but his English precise. As they walked to the vehicle that would take them to the university, Mia chatted about the city, pointing out landmarks and giving him a brief rundown of what to expect. Orientation. The campus of the IUGM was located in Upper Manhattan, nestled between classic brick buildings and modern architectural marvels. Zarax was in awe. The university was a microcosm of the galaxy's diversity, with students from myriad planets and species moving about. During orientation, Zarax learned about the university's codes of conduct, which emphasized respect and understanding across cultures and species. His curriculum was rigorous: advanced human anatomy and physiology, comparative alien biology, interspecies medical ethics, and more. Settling in Zarax's dorm room was a small, functional space with standard amenities for various species' needs. He unpacked his belongings, few possessions from Xylon, mainly clothes that shimmered with the same luminescent quality as his skin, and a data pad filled with medical journals and texts. Later that day, Mia introduced Zarax to Jake, another student mentor, who was more than eager to show him around and introduce him to Earth's cuisines. Jake's robust laughter and easygoing nature were a perfect foil to Mia's structured and methodical approach. The intrigue begins. That evening, as Zarax lay in his bed staring at the ceiling, his mind buzzed with human anatomical terms, social customs, and the faces of the many new beings he had met. His last thoughts before sleep were not of Xylon, but of the human heart, not just its physical mechanics, which he found fascinating, but its capacity for emotion and connection. This dual interest in the physiological and the psychological marked the beginning of his profound journey into the depths of human nature. His dreams that night were a vibrant mix of Earth scenes, the rushing subway, the sprawling green of Central Park, and the myriad faces of its people, each a unique story to tell. Zarax's journey had just begun, and already Earth felt like a puzzle he was eager to solve, one human mystery at a time. The sun rose over the horizon, casting a warm glow over the campus of the International University of Galactic Medicine, IUGM. Zarax awoke, filled with anticipation for his first day in a human classroom. As he prepared, he adjusted his attire to better blend in, choosing colors that muted his naturally luminescent skin. He wanted to observe and learn without drawing undue attention. The human anatomy class, Zarax's first class, Human Anatomy 101, was located in one of the older lecture halls, known for its grand amphitheater seating and state-of-the-art holographic displays. As he entered, a wave of murmurs rippled through the room. His presence was unusual, not only because of his exotic appearance, but because Xylonians were rarely seen in such academic settings on Earth. The professor, Dr. Helen Ivers, was a leading figure in human Xylonian physiology, a field that sought to understand the physiological nuances between species. She welcomed Zarax warmly, making a brief announcement to the class about the importance of diversity and learning from each other. As the lecture began, Zarax was fascinated by the detailed holograms showing various human body systems. He recorded everything meticulously on his datapad, his eyes rarely straying from the images that floated just above their desks. The complexity and resilience of the human body were astounding to him. Their muscular, skeletal, and cardiovascular systems all spoke of a species built for endurance and adaptability. Interaction with classmates. During the break, Mia and Jake joined him, introducing him to their friends. The initial awkwardness around his presence slowly faded as Zarax asked thoughtful questions, showing his keen interest in their studies and personal experiences. "Why do humans have such varied skin colors?" Zarax asked during one conversation, genuinely curious about genetic diversity. "It's mostly evolutionary, related to our ancestors' exposure to sunlight in different parts of the world," Mia explained, impressed by the depth of his questions. As the group discussed, Zarax noted the social dynamics at play, how body language and facial expressions often communicated as much as words. He was particularly intrigued by the concept of empathy, a trait his species valued but understood differently. Learning beyond biology, Mia, realizing Zarax's interest in human behaviors, suggested they visit the Metropolitan Museum of Art to explore human cultural expressions through the ages. Zarax was captivated by the artworks, each piece telling a story of human emotions, conflicts, and aspirations. The trip proved to be an excellent supplement to his textbook knowledge, offering him insights into the human psyche. "What do you feel when you see this painting?" Mia asked, pointing to Van Gogh's Starry Night. Zarax paused, focusing on the swirling, vibrant hues. "A longing, perhaps a search for meaning beyond the visible," he replied, using phrases he had learned from his emotional lexicon studies. Mia smiled. "Exactly. Many humans connect with this painting on an emotional level. It's more than just art. It's about feeling something profound." Reflections. As the day ended, Zarax felt a surge of gratitude towards Mia, Jake, and the others for their openness and support. His mind buzzed with new information and questions about human anatomy, emotional expressions, and cultural diversity. He realized that to truly understand humans, he needed to study not only their bodies, but their experiences and expressions. Back in his room, Zarax looked at his notes and the museum catalog he had kept. He was beginning to see humans in a different light, not just as biological subjects, but as beings of complexity and depth. His journey into understanding humanity was just beginning, and he was more eager than ever to dive deeper into the emotional and physical nuances that define the human race. Each day presented new learning opportunities, and Zarax was determined to embrace them all, one human mystery at a time. Zarax's days soon fell into a comfortable rhythm, marked by lectures, lab sessions, and long discussions with his new friends about everything from human physiology to the philosophical dilemmas of interstellar ethics. Each day unfolded new layers of human complexity, and with each layer, Zarax's fascination grew deeper. Deep dive into human physiology. In the weeks that followed, Zarax's understanding of human anatomy became more nuanced. He was particularly intrigued by the neurobiological underpinnings of human emotions, a field that seemed to bridge the gap between the physical and the psychological. Dr. Ivers introduced him to neuroanatomy, detailing how the human brain interacts with the rest of the body to produce what humans call feelings. "Zarax, can you explain why the amygdala is significant in emotional processing?" Dr. Ivers asked during one session. It appears to act as a hub for processing fear and pleasure responses, Zarax replied, carefully articulating his understanding. A similar structure exists in Xylonians, though it's primarily linked to empathy and communal connection. Excellent comparison, Dr. Ivers nodded approvingly, always encouraging cross-species insights which enriched the course for everyone. Human reproduction, a taboo topic? The class that truly tested Zarax, both intellectually and culturally, was human reproduction. Xylonian reproductive methods were clinical, devoid of physical contact, which starkly contrasted with humans' emotional and physical bonds. He was both embarrassed and intensely curious about these lectures. Mia noticed his discomfort and whispered, "It's a lot to take in, but it's perfectly natural for us. How do Xylonians—" "We use genetic compatibility data to initiate conception via biomedical labs. It's efficient and emotion-free," Zarax explained quietly, aware of how odd this sounded to human ears. "That sounds practical," Mia replied, trying to find the right words. "Maybe a bit lonely, though?" Zarax pondered her comment. He hadn't considered the loneliness of his species' method before. It was just the way things were. Exploring human social life. To help Zarax integrate and understand human social norms, Jake invited him to various social gatherings, from quiet cafe meetups to lively university parties. These experiences were overwhelming but invaluable for Zarax, observing human interactions in natural settings. At one party, he was particularly struck by the physical displays of affection: hugs, handshakes, kisses on cheeks. These gestures conveyed trust, respect, or love, complex emotional currencies that Zarax found both baffling and beautiful. "Why do humans touch so much?" Zarax asked Jake as they watched two friends embrace warmly. "It's our way of connecting," Jake explained. "Physical touch can communicate support and comfort, something that words sometimes can't." Zarax noted this carefully. Physicality was integral to human relationships, a stark departure from Xylonian customs. Emotional education. Mia suggested that Zarax attend a workshop on emotional intelligence to better understand his observations. The workshop, led by a renowned psychologist, Dr. Nora Feldman, focused on recognizing and managing emotions, skills essential for both personal and professional life. Zarax was fascinated by the concept of emotional intelligence, a term he had never encountered before. He learned about various human emotions, how to recognize them in others, and, unexpectedly, how to recognize them in himself. This workshop proved pivotal. It gave him tools to process the overwhelming new experiences he was having among humans. Reflecting on progress. One evening, while reflecting on his experiences at a local coffee shop, Zarax journaled about his progress. He wrote about the complexity of human anatomy, the beauty of their emotional expressions, and his slowly growing understanding of the importance of physical touch and emotional bonds. He wondered how much of this he would carry back to Xylon, how much of it he could integrate into his own life, without losing the essence of his Xylonian heritage. As he sipped on a cup of coffee, a bitter human beverage that he had come to enjoy, Zarax realized how much he had changed since his arrival. From a curious observer of humanity, he was now an active participant in human culture, learning not just about humans, but also from them. His mission to understand the human body had evolved into a profound exploration of what it meant to be human. Weeks turned into months, and Zarax's immersion in human culture and physiology deepened. The once stark lines between observer and participant blurred as he found himself increasingly engaged in the human experience. His academic pursuits remained rigorous, but it was his personal journey among the humans that began to intrigue him the most, particularly his complex feelings toward Mia. Growing connection with Mia had been a constant presence since Zarax's arrival. She was not just a guide in his academic and cultural adaptation, but also his closest confidant. Their friendship had deepened over shared meals, long walks discussing human philosophy, and evenings spent exploring the city's vast cultural landscapes. Zarax found human companionship more enriching and complicated than he had anticipated, especially with Mia. One evening, while studying together at Mia's apartment, Zarax found himself observing not the anatomy charts before him, but Mia's expressions, her subtle smiles, her focused frown when concentrating, and the way her eyes lit up when she talked about her passions. Zarax felt a warmth spread through him, an emotion he identified, thanks to Dr. Feldman's workshop, as affection, possibly more. "Zarax, you've been staring at me for 5 minutes straight. What's up?" Mia's voice broke through his reverie, her tone light with amusement. Embarrassed, Zarax quickly turned his gaze back to his books. "I am sorry, Mia. I was contemplating the complexity of human emotions." Mia laughed softly. "And you chose my face for this contemplation?" "It is a familiar reference point," Zarax tried to explain, his skin shifting to a soft violet, which Mia had learned signaled his embarrassment. Emotional realizations. Their interactions became laden with unspoken questions and glances that lingered too long. Zarax was experiencing human attraction, complex and exhilarating, yet confusing against the backdrop of his Xylonian emotional conditioning. The more he understood human emotions, the more he realized how much they were affecting him. Mia sensed the shift in their dynamics too. One night, as they walked along the Hudson River, watching the city lights shimmer on the water, she broached the subject. "Zarax, do you feel something more for me?" Mia asked, her voice a mix of curiosity and caution. "I am unsure," he confessed. "My feelings are deep and somewhat turbulent. I find myself drawn to you in a way that is not merely platonic or academic. I experience a desire to be near you, which is unfamiliar to me." Mia stopped walking, turning to face him. "That sounds a lot like attraction, Zarax. Human-style attraction." Navigating new emotions. The admission hung between them, delicate and fraught with implications. Mia took his hand, a human gesture of comfort. Zarax's initial instinct was to withdraw, but he resisted, allowing himself to experience the human warmth from her touch. "Let's explore this together," Mia suggested gently. "We can take it slow. There's no handbook for interstellar relationships, but there is one for exploring human emotions responsibly." Zarax agreed, his mind a whirl of Xylonian caution and newfound human impulsiveness. The weeks that followed were a dance of emotions and experiences, as they navigated their budding relationship through dates in the park, visits to museums, and quiet evenings watching films about Earth's various cultures. Cultural exchange and understanding. As Zarax learned to navigate his feelings, he also shared more of his culture with Mia. He explained Xylonian meditative practices, designed to enhance emotional communion and empathy, which Mia embraced eagerly. Their bond deepened, grounded in mutual respect and curiosity for each other's worlds. Reflection and acceptance. One crisp autumn evening, as they watched the sunset from Mia's rooftop, Zarax realized how profoundly Earth had changed him. He was no longer just a student of human anatomy, but a student of human living, engaged fully with the complexities of human relationships and emotions. "I am grateful to you, Mia," Zarax said earnestly, his hand in hers, his skin a calm shade of blue, signaling his deep contentment. "You have shown me more than I ever anticipated learning. About humans, yes, but also about myself." Mia squeezed his hand, her smile wide and warm. "And I've learned from you, Zarax, about patience, understanding, and the beauty of seeing the world through someone else's eyes." Together they looked out at the city, their silhouettes bathed in the golden light of dusk, a testament to the unexpected and transformative power of intercultural, interstellar friendship and love. This experience, Zarax realized, was just another facet of the complex, beautiful mosaic of human life, a life he was now, undeniably and wonderfully a part of. As Zarax's relationship with Mia deepened, the challenges they faced became more complex, involving not only their personal emotions, but also the cultural perceptions and misinterpretations from those around them. Their union, while filled with moments of joy and discovery, was also a landscape of social navigation and occasional faux pas. Social intricacies and faux pas. Zarax learned that human affection was expressed in myriad ways, varying significantly by context and relationship. One afternoon, while attending a casual gathering with Mia's friends, Zarax attempted to replicate the affection he observed by hugging one of Mia's friends, an acceptable gesture he had noted many times. However, his timing and the somewhat stiff execution turned the gesture into an awkward encounter, leading to a burst of laughter from the group. Mia, ever supportive, explained later, "It's all about context, Zarax. Hugs are common, yes, but usually there's a bit more fluidity, and not everyone is as comfortable with them. You'll get the hang of it." These learning moments were humorous but enlightening for Zarax. Each mishap taught him more about the subtleties of human interaction than any textbook could. Navigating differences. As Zarax adapted to human social norms, he also faced the challenge of explaining his Zylonian practices, which often seemed peculiar or overly pragmatic to humans. His explanation of Zylonian empathy rituals, intense sessions of emotional exchange meant to strengthen communal bonds, was met with mixed reactions. Some found it fascinating, while others viewed it as an invasion of personal emotional space. These cultural exchanges, while sometimes contentious, proved essential in fostering a deeper understanding between Zarax and Mia, and by extension, their friends. Mia admired Zarax's willingness to engage with human culture and his patience in explaining his own, even when faced with skepticism or misunderstanding. Intimacy and embarrassment. Zarax's exploration of human intimacy also led to some misconceptions. His academic approach to understanding human romance, often discussing it in overly clinical terms, initially baffled Mia, who found it simultaneously endearing and exasperating. "Love isn't just about physiological responses and emotional compatibility, Zarax," Mia once explained during a particularly scientific discussion about attraction. "It's about feeling safe and happy with someone. It's messy and beautiful and doesn't always make sense." Zarax took her words to heart, realizing that some aspects of human relationships couldn't be learned through study alone. They had to be experienced. A significant misunderstanding. A more significant misunderstanding arose when Zarax casually mentioned his observations of human relationships to a professor, not realizing that such discussions might be considered private. This indiscretion led to a minor scandal, as his comments, though purely academic in his view, were seen as personal judgments. Mia helped him navigate the fallout, coaching him on the importance of discretion and the human concept of privacy. Zarax was quick to apologize, and though the incident was uncomfortable, it was a pivotal learning moment for him about the boundaries of personal versus public discourse in human society. Growth through misunderstanding. Each cultural misstep was a stepping stone for Zarax, who began to appreciate the complexity of human behaviors and the importance of context and sensitivity. Mia, for her part, learned to appreciate the clarity and sincerity of Zarax's worldview, which, though different, was deeply rooted in empathy and understanding. As autumn turned to winter and the city's first snowfalls blanketed the streets, Zarax and Mia walked through Central Park, watching children build snowmen, a quintessentially human joy that Zarax noted with a smile. "These moments," Mia said as she leaned into Zarax, her breath visible in the cold air, "these are as important as any lesson or book." "Yes," Zarax agreed, his skin glowing softly with hues of contentment. "I am beginning to understand that now. It is not just the study of humanity that brings me knowledge, but the experience of being human with you." This realization marked a new chapter in Zarax's journey on Earth, not just as a student of the human body, but as a participant in the human condition, finding joy in the simple, messy, and beautiful moments of everyday life. The cultural misunderstandings, while challenging, enriched his understanding and deepened his and Mia's connection, proving that sometimes the heart is the greatest teacher. As the semester advanced, Zarax's comfort with human customs grew, alongside his emotional attachment to Mia. Their relationship, enriched by their cultural exchanges and deep conversations, faced new depths and complexities. Zarax's Zylonian empathy abilities, which allowed him to sense and sometimes share the emotions of others, began to intertwine more profoundly with Mia's human experiences, leading to a blend of emotional and intellectual growth that neither had anticipated. Strengthening bonds. Mia introduced Zarax to her family over a video call one evening. Her parents were initially curious and slightly apprehensive about the interstellar nature of their relationship, but were soon charmed by Zarax's respectful demeanor and his earnest efforts to understand human familial interactions. During the call, Zarax felt a surge of mixed emotions through his empathic link, a mixture of Mia's nervous excitement, her parents' cautious optimism, and his own anxiety about making a good impression. This emotional cocktail was bewildering, yet it helped him grasp the complex dynamics of human relationships. After the call, Mia, sensing his overwhelmed state, took him for a walk in the park to unwind. "It's okay to feel overwhelmed," she said gently. "It means you're really connecting, not just observing." Emotional challenges. One night, while studying together in the university library, Mia received a distressing message from home. Her grandmother, with whom she was very close, had fallen seriously ill. Mia tried to maintain her composure, but her distress was palpable. Instinctively, Zarax reached out and took her hand, his empathy ability allowing him to share her burden. The flood of emotions was intense: grief, fear, love, a spectrum he had never before navigated. For the first time, Zarax didn't just observe human emotions, he experienced them viscerally. "Thank you, Zarax," Mia whispered, finding some comfort in his shared understanding. "It helps, knowing you're here with me." The incident brought them closer, and Zarax began to appreciate the profound strength required to manage such emotions daily. Learning to support encouraged by his desire to support Mia, Zarax attended workshops on emotional support and human psychology. He learned techniques to help others without being overwhelmed himself, a crucial skill given his empathic abilities. Mia appreciated his efforts, relying on his strength and newfound understanding during her grandmother's illness. Zarax, in turn, found a new level of respect for human resilience and the power of emotional support, which deepened his love for Mia. Navigating emotional depth. As winter deepened and the first snow covered the city in white, Zarax and Mia's relationship faced the complexities of emotional dependence and independence. Zarax struggled with the fine line between sharing emotions and losing oneself in them. A particularly intense empathic experience left him drained and confused, prompting a serious discussion between the two about boundaries and personal space. Mia, with her innate understanding of human emotions, guided him through these challenges, helping him find a balance between connection and self-preservation. "It's about sharing, not sacrificing," Mia explained. "We can be there for each other without losing who we are." Zarax took her words to heart, learning to manage his empathic abilities more effectively, ensuring that he supported Mia without becoming overwhelmed by the emotional intensity. Growth through empathy. By the end of the semester, Zarax had not only become proficient in human anatomy and physiology, but had also mastered the delicate art of human emotional interactions. His relationship with Mia had taught him about the strength that comes from vulnerability and the beauty of truly sharing one's life with another. Their connection, a tapestry woven from threads of different worlds, was stronger for its challenges and richer for its diversity. Zarax realized that his journey on Earth, initially intended as an academic pursuit, had become a profound personal exploration of love, empathy, and the intricate dance of human relationships. Sitting together under the blanket of stars visible from the city's observatory, Zarax and Mia reflected on their journey. "I came here to learn about humans," Zarax mused, his voice soft with emotion. "But I've learned more about heart and soul than I could have imagined." Mia squeezed his hand, her smile radiant. "And I've learned that the heart doesn't care about the distance between stars. It just knows what it feels." As the winter turned to spring, Zarax and Mia looked forward to the future, ready to face whatever challenges and joys it might bring, together. Their journey was a testament to the power of emotional connection, transcending species, planets, and the vast expanse of space between the stars. As spring embraced New York City with its gentle warmth and vibrant colors, Zarax and Mia's relationship blossomed further, nurtured by shared experiences and deepened understanding. The semester was drawing to a close, and with it, Zarax's time on Earth was nearing its end. The thought of leaving Mia and the life he had built here filled him with a bittersweet turmoil. Decisions and realizations. Zarax's academic achievements were exemplary. His thesis on human anatomy and emotional physiology was groundbreaking, drawing interest from various academic circles across the galaxy. As he prepared for his final presentation at the university, he reflected on everything he had learned, not just about humans, but about himself and the universe of emotions he'd experienced with Mia. One evening, as they walked through Central Park, Mia broached the subject of his impending departure. "What will you do when you go back to Xylon?" she asked, a note of sadness in her voice. Zarax looked at her, his eyes reflecting the green of Earth's life around them. "I have been thinking about that," he admitted. "My studies here have changed me, Mia. I am not the same Zarax who arrived. I owe that to you, to this planet." Mia smiled, but her eyes were tinged with tears. "And I am not the same Mia who met you at the spaceport. You've opened my world in ways I couldn't imagine." A proposal. The conversation lingered in the air as they reached their favorite spot by the Bethesda Terrace. Zarax took Mia's hands in his skin glowing faintly with hues of determination and affection. "Mia, I have a proposal," he began, his voice steady but full of emotion. "I want to take you to Xylon, not just to visit but to study and maybe live. You have shown me your world. I want to share mine with you." Mia's gasp was soft but filled with surprise and joy. "Really? You mean that? I could come with you?" "Yes," Zarax affirmed. "I've spoken with my mentors and the university board. They are intrigued by the idea of a human studying on Xylon, especially someone with your insight and perspective." Weaving futures together. The idea of leaving Earth was daunting for Mia, but the thought of exploring Zarax's world, of seeing the stars from another angle, excited her. They spent long hours discussing logistics, cultural differences, and potential challenges. Zarax described Xylon's towering crystal cities and the vast empathic fields where Xylonians connected emotionally, landscapes he promised to explore with her by his side. Saying goodbye. The day of departure arrived sooner than either of them would have liked. Their last week was a flurry of farewells with friends they had made, places that had become dear, and moments spent memorizing the feel of Earth, its sights, sounds, and smells. At the spaceport, surrounded by friends and a few professors, Mia and Zarax said their goodbyes. Dr. Ivers hugged them both, her eyes bright with tears. "You two have taught us as much as we have taught you," she said warmly. "This is not goodbye, but a new beginning." Forward to the stars. As their ship ascended, Mia watched Earth shrink below them, a beautiful, vibrant orb she now knew intimately. Zarax stood beside her, his hand in hers, ready to face whatever the future held. They were pioneers on a new frontier, not just of space, but of understanding and connection. "Look ahead, Mia," Zarax said as the stars stretched before them. "There are infinite possibilities and countless worlds, but we'll explore them together." Mia squeezed his hand, her heart full of anticipation and wonder. "Together," she agreed, her voice steady and sure. The cosmos awaited them, vast and mysterious. But for Zarax and Mia, the journey was not just about studying new worlds. It was about building a life together, learning from each other, and finding home in the universe's endless expanse. Love, they realized, was the greatest adventure of all, transcending the boundaries of worlds and the vast distances of space. As the spaceship hurtled towards new experiences, they knew they were ready for the vast unknown together.